Past week was pretty dramatic and it was in fact expected. As you can see, with the NFP data, which is forecast was 75k non-farm employment change, came out to be 22k. And we see some reflection in the market with the weakening on dollar index. So though we see that long-term trend as well bearish in this market. So after the first week of this NFP release, now this week quite a few instruments currently potentially showing trading opportunity, and also we see the same reflection on gold as well. So in this weekly Forex forecast traders, I'm going to look at one by one all of them to see what we can expect in this upcoming week. As NFP has been released, we can expect the market potentially to again trend to the major direction. So I was looking at a couple of pairs here, guys, on DXY, Euro dollar, British pound US dollar, dollar CAD, AUD USD, XAU USD, GBP JPY, and dollar yen. So before I do this analysis, also traders, make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. So let's begin with, first of all, DXY, starting with the higher time frame. Okay guys, so looking at monthly chart on DXY, and as monthly, weekly and daily higher time frame will give us clear direction, removing noise from the lower time frame, and then we will be looking at the lower time frame for potential entry opportunity. Here is the monthly move on DXY. We can see that there is a significant drop from this high, followed by the pullback here, and this green pullback is quite significant. As we starting of this move after this initial uptrend here on DXY, we can see that there is only one green candle, which is a pullback of this huge drop, pullback to this previous resistance, which is previous support down resistance. And from the monthly, we can see the market in fact crossed that high, created a long monthly bearish engulfer. Now this month, we can see the market tested this here support as a resistance, and with this test as a resistance, the market we can see getting that rejection back again towards the downside on the monthly perspective. And what we can expect now, what I think this week, initially we might see a potential pullback here and then to reject back again to the downside in this market. Dropping down to the weekly here on DXY, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly price action where the market is maintaining that series of lower high formation in this area. So with this series of lower high from the weekly time frame on DXY, this is the weekly doji past week that we have seen created a lower high and also closed little above the previous weekly low. But I think this week we might see potentially pullback again and possible continuation back here, back to back 3 weeks narrow doji, and also maintaining series of lower high and lower low, which is a downtrend. And the possibility, what I think, that DXY to break down is higher because it's maintaining the downtrend and there is an imbalance here in this market. Therefore, expecting DXY potentially to break the low and then to create a new lower low in this market. Now, if we look at the daily chart here on DXY, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily price action where there is a daily narrow doji here, which is a smaller daily candle, expecting the market potentially to feel that daily long wick coming back here below this level here on the daily perspective on DXY, and expecting the market to come down here to fill that, and I think the market continue to trend to create a new lower low in this market. So looking at the 4-hour chart where the market is maintaining series of lower high here in this lower time frame on DXY, and we can see there was a drop here followed by this pullback, and with this pullback there is a narrow doji here which is acting a kind of head and shoulder here in that area that we can see on DXY, and with this head and shoulder expecting the DXY potentially continue to trend here to this support level. So this could be this week's wave that DXY initially we might see that pullback and then continuation back below to this long-term support level in this market. So that being said, as DXY could be potentially bearish with a deeper pullback or without deeper pullback, and now we can see that reflection on, we can expect to be mirror on euro dollar. Now euro dollar price action, again I'm looking at also from the higher time frame perspective here. Now from the bigger picture that we can see on euro dollar from the monthly, previous month closed as a bullish candle. Also if we look at, it's a long-term bull market here. Now what we can see that this current monthly candlestick pattern here, this is the monthly support, and with a bigger monthly candlestick pattern expecting that euro dollar potentially to bounce back again to the upside here to create a new higher high. If we look at the weekly perspective here on euro dollar, we can see that from the weekly, this is where there is a weekly long wick, another weekly doji. So quite a few weeks the market is maintaining bullish market structure. If you look at here, you can see there is a doji, and also there is another doji here maintaining series of higher low, expecting that euro dollar potentially to turn back again to the upside to create a new higher high. If we look at the daily chart here on euro dollar, we can see that from the daily, this is where the market is maintaining series of higher low here, and with this series of higher low expecting the market to go back up here to fill that zone here where there is an important level. Therefore if you look at the daily chart here, that you can see the market is to potentially to go back up to fill that long wick here to create a new higher high. Now looking at the 4-hour chart here, that we can see on euro dollar, this is the intraday impulse. With the NFP we saw the market has made its initial impulse back to the upside, expecting the market to trend back here for a pullback and then to continue to rise here to create a new higher high in this market. This is where we can expect potential pullback and then trend continuation on euro dollar. After price action confirmation, we can look for potential bullish trading opportunity on euro dollar. Now GBPUSD, we can see the same kind of price action is being formed, and if we look at the monthly chart on British pound US dollar, we can see that from the monthly, after this bullish candle, this is the another monthly bullish doji formation here. This is where there is a monthly support level which is a doji, and expecting the market to potentially bounce here to create a new higher high in this market. This is where this is an important level of support here, expecting that British pound US dollar to come back for a pullback and then to continue to rise here to create a new higher high in this market. So looking at the weekly chart here on GBPUSD, now here is the weekly support level that we can see the market in that area. The price has crossed that doji's low, form a big long doji, expecting that GBPUSD potentially to trend here to create a new higher high in this market. And if we look at the daily chart here on British pound US dollar, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily support where there is a liquidity grab from this support level, followed by this is today's daily price action where there is a long wick here at the top, and expecting that GBPUSD potentially to go ahead to fill that long wick to create a new higher high in this market. So looking at the 4-hour chart here from the intraday perspective, this is the move on the intraday, a big move, and expecting deeper pullback here, and with this pullback expecting the market to trend, to retest, and potentially to continue to trend back up again to the major direction of the trend. So this could be the potential wave on British pound US dollar. Now let's look at dollar CAD. Now with dollar CAD, which is almost nearly following the DXY, we can see that dollar CAD, this is the monthly impulsive move on dollar CAD, followed by this pullback here. And this week, we can see initially was the monthly open with NFP. Dollar CAD has bounced to the upside, and at the end, with the weakness on DXY, we saw the dollar CAD has come for a deeper pullback, which we can see from the weekly perspective that initially the market has moved back to the upside, followed by a long week candle here on dollar CAD, expecting the market to potentially trend here to create a new lower low in this market. Now, if we look at the daily chart here on dollar CAD, we can see that from the daily time frame, this is the daily price action where there's a head, left shoulder, and the right shoulder, head and shoulder formation with a daily doji that you can see on dollar CAD, expecting the market to potentially come back here to fill that long wick here. Now, if we look at the dollar CAD move, we can see pretty strong drop followed by this pullback, and the drop pullback with a long doji on the daily time frame here on dollar CAD. So looking at the 4-hour chart here on dollar CAD, that you can see this is the intraday resistance line where there is a 4-hour narrow pin bar, expecting dollar CAD to drop back again to this long-term support level here in this market. Now, if we look at the AUD USD, we can see the market also on AUD USD showing the same kind of price action. If we look at the monthly here, this is a long-term bull market where initially we have seen that there is a significant stronger bounce followed by this pullback here, followed by, we can see this is the monthly move here and a narrow monthly doji formation here on AUD USD. This is where you can see the market form a support level here on AUD USD, expecting that the market potentially to bounce here to create a new higher high in this market. Now, if we look at the weekly chart here on AUD USD, this is where there is a stronger liquidity grab bounce followed by this pullback. The market is maintaining this series of higher high and higher low with a double bottom. It formed this bullish impulsive move to the upside here. From the weekly, it formed a weekly doji here, expecting that AUD USD potentially to continue to trend here to the major direction of the trend. Now, looking at daily chart here on AUD USD, we can see that from the daily perspective, this is the daily impulse followed by this correction and maintaining this series of higher low here on AUD USD with a long bullish candlestick pattern formation on AUD USD. Looking at the 4-hour chart here, that you can see there is a significant bounce on AUD USD followed by this pullback, and expecting that AUD USD potentially to trend here to the major direction of the trend. So this is where I will be waiting for a pullback and then to continue to trend to the major direction. This is where we will be waiting for a potential bullish trading opportunity on AUD USD. Now let's look at gold XAUUSD. Past week, as expected, was significantly bullish. This instrument that we have seen, there was a massive breakout, and we could see that XAUUSD showing still a stronger bullish price action in this market. So first of all, looking at monthly to see overall picture in this market. So from the monthly here, that you can see, this is where the monthly impulse followed by narrow correction. We can see another impulse, deeper correction, another impulse, correction, sideways movement, expecting that the market to trend again back to the upside here. So from the monthly, this is the new monthly bullish candle here that you can see, which is showing that possibly upside momentum in this market, expecting that XAUUSD continue to rise here to create a new higher high in this market. So looking at weekly chart on XAUUSD, we can see that from the weekly, this is the weekly impulse so far, back to back 3 weeks, significantly bullish market structure here, where there is a previous resistance which is turning support here, from the weekly and expecting the market to come down for a pullback and then to continue to rise here to create a new higher high in this market. Now looking at daily chart here that you can see on XAU-USD, this is the daily impulse, pretty sharp bounce followed by last day of trading week. We saw that the day before the last day on Thursday, the market had an initial pullback in this market, as this market is maintaining a bullish market structure, expecting the market to come back for a deeper pullback and then to revert back again to the upside here. Now from the 4-hour chart here that you can see from the intraday perspective, where which is showing a bull market. This is an impulse followed by this correction, impulse, deeper correction. The market is maintaining this series of higher high and higher low. Here is, we can see there is a breakup structure here in this market from this support level. And with this breakup structure where the market has penetrated below, and we could see the market maintaining that uptrending market structure. Last day of trading week, we saw with NFP there is a significant breakout which is showing that potential bullish trend continuation here in this market. So if we look at the 1-hour chart here, that you can see lower time frame price action also showing that bullish. Here is what we can expect for the market to potentially break any of this important swing low and then to continue to trend here to create a new higher high in this market. This could be the potential wave on gold, and as soon as market open, we will be waiting for an entry, as we might see that with the breakup structure, the market continue to trend here to create a new higher high in this market. So let's look at yen pairs, starting with GBP, JPY. Looking at monthly perspective here on GJ, we can see that from the monthly, this is the monthly impulse here with this one single move back to the upside on the monthly on GJ, followed by past week we saw there was after this monthly doji, this week as expected initially had a bounce back to the upside, which is the major direction of the trend. Now this week we saw there was a pullback. So if we look at the weekly chart here, after this weekly doji, the market has shown initial breakout followed by a weekly pullback. This weekly long week represents a pullback in this market, expecting the market to come down here for a deeper drop and then continue to rise to the major direction of the trend. Now if we look at the daily chart here, that you can see on the daily perspective, this is where there is a daily impulse that you can see, and last day of trading week from a long week narrow doji. What I think that guys, this week GJ may remain bullish. We might see the market is maintaining that bullish market structure, expecting to come back for a deeper pullback and then to continue to rise here to create a new higher high in this market. So here is the 4-hour chart that you can see on GJ in this intraday perspective. From the 4-hour perspective here, this is important support here, move back to the upside followed by a drop to the support, another bounce. So the market is maintaining a typical bullish market structure, expecting that GJ to come down for a deeper pullback to this support and then to continue to rise here to create a new higher high in this market. This could be the potential wave on GJ and expecting to remain bullish this week as well. Now looking at dollar yen, as we see that there is a weakness on dollar, so that could also reflect on dollar yen. Now looking at monthly chart on dollar yen, we can see that from the monthly, this is also a bigger picture perspective, long term bear market. We can see this is the monthly impulse here followed by this pullback. So from the Fibonacci perspective, we can see that dollar yen almost retraced to this 61.8%, which is golden issue, and from that 61.8% the market started to melt down back below here to create a new lower low in this market. So if we look at the weekly, we can see that back to back 2 weeks dollar yen from narrow dojis here. What I think that, guys, this is potentially a bear market in that area. If we look at here, you can see there is a weekly impulse followed by quite a few weeks the market maintained sideways movement with a long wick doji here, and this is the weekly doji that we can expect on dollar yen potentially to break below here to the support level to create a new lower low in this market. Now if we look at here, this is the daily price action where there is a daily support which is term resistance in that area, and with this daily support term resistance expecting initial pullback and then to continue to trend here to create a new lower low in this market. So here is the 4-hour chart here on dollar yen, where the market, we can see that from here pretty sharp breakdown followed by expecting deeper pullback. Here is the key level up, which is what I think that support term resistance on dollar yen, and expecting that the market to potentially retest and then to continue to trend back below here to create a new lower low in this market. So guys, these are the pairs that might be showing higher volatility, along with any other instrument also coming showing potential trading opportunity. We'll be looking for entry, and I hope that, guys, you enjoyed this weekly forex forecast. Throughout the week also there will be regular analysis, and also in the middle of the week there will be midweek forex update. So I highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel and also press the notification bell so that you are not missing any of the content that I'm posting every single day.